Welcome back, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt. Bethany Mandel is the co-founder of the Mom Wars at Substack.com. Bethany, I talked to Justice Barrett earlier today. I asked her as a mom, what are we going to do about the culture of violence in the United States? And she walked me through the very rigorous protocols in the Coney Barrett household for internet devices. And then she cited sua sponte, nice legal term there for you, the anxious generation making our teenagers read it. What do you have to add to that?
I can't wait to listen to that segment, actually. So I wrote about this for the Mom Wars on Substack today, actually. Um, there, I'm very reticent to extrapolate too much into the mom's social media presence, and I'm also very reticent because these parents have had a real tragedy befall their family, and they did the right thing in turning him in, and I don't know if many people would do that. So I want to put all those caveats out there. It seems like he spent a lot of time unsupervised on the internet, and that was a real misstep. Abigail Schreier also wrote this for the Free Press that came out this morning, and Liz Wheeler tweeted about it this morning. But there is a tendency among parents of my generation to very passively parent instead of doing it as a verb. And the end result is we have kids who have had no direction morally, spiritually, academically, but really those first two are the most important. And they're influenced by people online. And that's what we're seeing what happened to him on all of these sort of gamer Discord threads.
I'm so old, I don't even know what Discord is, and I don't care. It's not my world. But I do want parents and young people to get the warnings that they would get about cigarette smoking, for goodness sake.
Yes.
If you go on the web, you're much more likely to have a public health issue in your life than if you smoke a carton of cigarettes a day. It's that real.
Yep, absolutely. No, I mean the unfiltered access to the internet, which by the way comes through a smartphone. And this was something that in Anxious Generation he talked about a lot, how, by every metric of mental health for kids, whether it be depression, anxiety, you name it, it tanks when smartphones are introduced. You're giving your kid a window into the entire world when you hand them that device that they have access to 24/7. And of course, there's detrimental results. And it's really frustrating as a parent seeing fellow parents giving smartphones and iPhones to 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, and your kid is the only one that isn't on the group chat and it's very, very frustrating.
What do you make of the ubiquitousness, if that's a word, the ubiquity of devices in restaurants being handed to kids to calm them down? And, I don't want to guilt anyone. It's
I
something
do.
that happened without anyone being aware.
Yeah, it's really bad. I remember I walked into a restaurant with my kids. I think I had five of them at the time, and I didn't hand them anything. And an elderly couple moved tables away from us, and the kids sat nicely. We behaved. We were about to leave, and they walked up to us and they said, "We cannot remember the last time we saw kids at a restaurant who behaved without a screen attached." And when she said that to me, I thought to myself, oh my God, she's right. I don't remember the last time I saw that either. And it's this refusal to parent as a verb. Kids do not understand how to behave politely and calmly when there is no stimulation. And so they're constantly fed stimulation in the form of screens. And, this is you hook kids in at 2, 3 years old. They can't go through a supermarket or a restaurant without a screen. And then you fast forward when they're 14, 15, you put them on these gamer apps. Here we are.
The alternative was and remains reading. And the numbers on reading that came out last week are horrifying.
Yes.
So I don't know what the public schools are planning to do. Probably nothing. Probably
Nothing. Yeah.
nothing. But they ought to just stop everything until everyone can read to grade level, including math,
Yep.
I think.
I agree. I agree. It's funny. I homeschool my kids, and my sixth grader has reached the limits of my ability as a homeschool parent. So I've had to put her in math classes online this year. But no, I agree. It is an existential crisis. And they have decided that they need to teach SEL, social emotional learning, and all of that sort of psychobabble instead of just teaching them not only how to read, but to love reading. And I think a lot of the transactional nature of reading in classrooms really does a real disservice to kids because they don't grow up to love it.
And I'm blessed that my grandchildren love to read. And that's because their parents love to read, and that's because their mother loved to read. Their grandmother loves to read. And I'm not taking any credit for that because I'm not part of the game. It's up to moms and the primary parenting. Sometimes it's dad. But I do think it's not insurmountable. All it requires is will in school boards to say, we will learn how to read. It's
Yeah.
not hard. You just got to say, we're going to do it. You think any school district will? Will Montgomery County do it?
And my local school, if I sent my kids to the local elementary school, I think it's under 10% of kids are reading on grade level. So it's not looking great.
But no, that's not true.
Yeah.
Under
Yeah.
10%?
Yeah.
All right. So, public service announcement. People have to run for school board and be willing to fire superintendents and break tenure agreements and handle the lawsuits. What do you think?
Yeah. No, absolutely. But also, you have to donate and you have to volunteer for school board races too. I ran for school board here in Montgomery County. You promoted that so much, and your listeners are the reason why my campaign was funded at all. But I didn't even make it to the primary. People need to know more about who's running and help those candidates.
Or they have to, and this is not an attack on you and Seth, they have to move. I know you guys have reasons for
We
staying there,
homeschool for a
but
reason.
yeah, but you have to leave. Your tax dollars are still supporting that, though, right?
Hmm.
You're
Yep.
still
They're lighting on fire every single day.
every day, and so if you move to a district that teaches reading, at least your property taxes won't go to the radical left. Last question. I'm disturbed by what I see online. I'm not going to give much attention to it, but I mean it's crazy.
Yeah, what's more disturbing to me, honestly, I think anyone can sort of cherry pick, this post, whatever. What really has freaked me out over the course of the last almost week is seeing people that I know personally say, "Well, what's the big deal? Well, I don't see a vigil at the Kennedy Center for XYZ, you know, tragedy." And what's interesting to me about those posts is that they're telling on themselves because the left is incapable of rallying its troops the way the right is. And the right is capable of putting together a vigil at the Kennedy Center, which I attended last night with Seth, where there were thousands of people there. The right is capable of doing that organizationally because of people like Charlie Kirk, but mostly Charlie Kirk.
Mostly Charlie Kirk. Bethany Mandel, thank you very much for your time. Follow her at Bethany Shondark. Subscribe to the momwars.substack.com and help it grow and spread good, serious parenting across the country. The momwars.substack.com. I'll be right back, America. Stay tuned.
The Hugh Hewitt Show is now available on TV. Go to salemnewschannel.com or download the app. You can also watch on Roku and Fire Stick. Salem News Channel, the antidote to the mainstream media.